I did not plan out how to get down here. So, like a dog, I'm just be searching for a while. Let's see, got it. Oh, Amy, I got my nails done. Look how cute they are.
Nice. Can you all hear me? Okay.
I can hear you.
Cool. I didn't charge my earbuds, so I'm just winging it.
That hurt. But I'm here.
All right. So coming to any comfortable seat for you. So that can be legs out long, that can be crossing the legs, whatever feels most comfortable or as comfortable as you can feel sitting. And just starting to take in a few breaths. So maybe starting to inhale through the nose, maybe exhaling through the mouth. Inhaling through the nose. Exhaling through the mouth. And just noticing how it feels in your body to breathe. So often we focus on physical movement and how that feels, but just trying to notice how breathing feels for you this morning or this afternoon. Noticing where in your body you feel your breath. So maybe you feel your chest rise and fall. Maybe you feel your shoulders lift and release. Maybe you feel it more in your belly, that kind of ballooning or filling up with air and emptying. Maybe you feel it in your back, that broadening, spacing of the back muscles and then contracting. And then starting to mindfully manipulate the breath. So we'll start to invite a little bit longer inhale and a little bit longer exhale. I'm not going to give you a specific count, but just trying to inhale a little bit longer, like you're taking an extra sip of air. And same with the exhale, just trying to push out a little bit more air, like you're completely trying to empty, like you're that toothpaste tube, trying to get every last bit of breath out. Noticing how that feels. Returning to any version of that breath cycle that feels most comfortable. And we'll start to move a little bit with our breath. So on your next inhale, I'm going to invite you to lift the chin up towards the ceiling, towards the sky. And as you exhale, gently releasing your chin towards your chest. You can allow this movement to be as large or as small as you want it to be, however your neck is feeling this morning. And really letting that feedback from the neck guide the movement. So noticing if you feel any pinching, any strain, and really allowing that to tell you, hey, you know, we need to take it easy. Or maybe your neck is saying, hey, we can go a little further, we can go a little more in extending the neck. On your next inhale, as we lift the chin, we can reach the arms out, reaching the heart forward. And as you exhale, bringing that chin towards the chest, curving the spine, giving yourself a little hug. Again, inhaling to open up. And as you exhale, bringing it back in. So we're curving, bending the spine, getting a little bit of movement, a little bit of fluidity into the spine. And again, making this movement your own. So noticing what the spine is telling you, how large you want to make this movement, how small you want to make this movement. And continuing to move with the breath. So that pace of the inhale, that's how long it's going to take you to open up. That pace of the exhale, that's how long it's going to bring you in. We'll take one more round. And nice and easy, releasing that movement, coming back to that comfortable, relaxed spine. Noticing how that little bit of movement felt for you. And then we'll take another breath in. And on your next exhale, we're going to just gently turn the head to one side, like you're looking at somebody sitting next to you. Inhaling back to center, exhaling to the other side. Just like you're saying a very exaggerated, very slow no with your body. And again, noticing how this gentle twist in the neck feels and allowing that to guide how much into the twist you want to go. So maybe you just want to go a little bit, maybe halfway. Maybe you want to go and look all the way over the shoulder. Whatever feels best for you today. We'll take one more turn on each side. And then when you're ready, we can start to expand this movement. So the next time you exhale and start to turn the head, gently turning the torso to that same side. So we're bringing in the whole bit of the spine into this twist. Again, inhaling back to center, looking forward, exhaling, gently twisting to the other side. And just noticing how this feels in the rest of the spine and using that feedback to guide how little or how far you want to get into this twist. Trying to keep that spine as aligned as possible. So trying not to let the chin go further than your chest. Continuing to move with your breath. Notice if you start to hold that breath at any point. You can take one more turn on each side. And then nice and easy, coming back to center. Noticing how those twists felt for you. And then we'll take another deep breath in. And as you exhale, we're just going to gently drop the head to one side. So I'm bringing my left ear towards my left shoulder. Doesn't have to be close, doesn't have to touch. And trying to keep the shoulders plugged in. So we're not lifting the shoulders to have them reach each other, but we're keeping the shoulders down away from the neck, away from the ears, and trying to bring the ear towards the neck, towards the shoulder. Inhaling back to center, so back to that alignment. Exhaling to the other side. And just noticing how the sides of the neck feel. This can be a bit of an intense stretch for some folks, especially depending on how you slept, how your neck is feeling today. And this might just feel like nothing. It might feel easy peasy. Feeling free to adjust how you're seated at any point. And then we'll start to gently bring the torso into this. So gently kind of swing the torso from side to side. So we're getting just a little bit into that side body. If you already know you want to go further, you can bring one hand down, the opposite arm up and over. So here we have a few options for transitions from side to side. You can kind of go the pendulum route by simply swinging or swing from side to side with your breath. Making sure you're always exhaling on the bend. So as you lean to the side, you're exhaling, inhaling back up. As you lean to the side, exhaling. You can also create more of a gradual transition from side to side. So as we're kind of leaning, walking the hands out in front of you, if you have the space and this feels good, to kind of ease from side to side. So this gets into that kind of rotational movement of the spine of the low back and can help kind of create a little bit of fluidity in the movement. Maybe that helps transition a little bit, whatever feels best for you. And if you notice that your shoulders are feeling especially tight today, feeling free to rotate that upper arm a few times one way, a few times the opposite way, getting to open up the shoulders as much as we're trying to open up the side body. And then whenever you're ready, finding your way back to center. Noticing how that kind of progressive build up, progressive movement of the spine felt. And then we're gonna get a little more into the rotation of that spine. So we're gonna imagine your spine is like a big ladle or like a big soup spoon, like a big stirring spoon. And we're gonna start to, so kind of using your spine, using your belly as the main kind of area of movement. We're gonna start to bring the belly forward and back. So you're bending, and I'll turn to the side so you can kind of see, but you're bending your spine, you're kind of flexing and bending the spine, kind of similar to cat-cow movement, as well as rotating the spine in a circle. So kind of reaching the belly forward, then bringing it in. So we're kind of getting into that curvature of the spine, and at the same time, getting into that rotation in the hips. And again, making this movement your own. So if it doesn't feel great to be really exaggerated and really large, you can kind of go with small circles. Just noticing how this feels in the hip, noticing how this feels in the body. You can even kind of imagine you're drawing a swirl, right? With your belly, with your spine. So maybe you're starting with the smaller circles and then you're slowly making them larger and larger. And just making sure you're breathing. So just finding that comfortable pattern of inhale and exhale. So where it feels good to inhale, where it feels good to exhale. For me, generally, I inhale as I'm kind of passing forward. And I exhale as I'm kind of passing back. But whatever feels natural, whatever feels best. And then whenever you're ready, we're going to switch the rotation. So starting to go in the opposite direction. Again, you can start with the slow, smaller circles. And then maybe getting a little bit larger, a little bit more exaggerated. Noticing how this direction feels in the hips. So sometimes one direction might feel a little bit better. Sometimes the other might feel stiff or tight. And then coming back, center, letting that movement go, noticing how it felt. And then we can go ahead and bring the legs out long if you haven't brought them out long already. Maybe shaking out the legs a little bit if they're feeling a little stiff, maybe tapping out the legs a little bit. And then we're going to start to get into that low back. So trying to keep the legs a little bit bent. So trying to bend the knees a little bit. So not necessarily locking the knees or keeping them, but allowing a little bit of bend. And then we're gonna inhale, reach the arms up. And as you exhale, gently folding forward towards your feet. Now you can let your hands rest wherever they do naturally. So it might be at the knees, at the thighs, it might be at the shins, at the ankles, whatever feels more accessible to you. Finding that place to hold on. And breathing here in this fold. So we're inhaling and exhaling. As we start to stretch out that low back, start to expand that low back a little bit. Taking one more breath. And then nice and easy coming back. So we're gonna get into the hips and kind of, so with the knees, a lot of times when we're trying to help ease some knee pain, we want to work on the muscles around the knee to protect the knees, right? So we're gonna work on the calf muscles a little bit, work on the hamstrings, work on the thighs a little bit. So we're gonna start by just kind of getting into the hip, getting into those tendons that connect all the way down. And as we open that up, we can start to release some of that tension that's running into the hamstrings, into those IT bands. So to start, we're going to take this right leg and bring it in. So as much as you can, as much as feels comfortable, bringing that right foot into the left hand and bringing the right knee into the right hand. So you can have that foot further away from you, you can have it closer to you, but just creating that figure four with the legs and lifting just a little, just enough so you can rock a little bit from side to side. We're just creating that opening and closing movement with the hip. If it feels comfortable and if it feels accessible, you can do a few rotations with the knees.
That's hurting for me.
A lot. The rotation?
Yeah. I
Okay.
have so for this spot right here on my knee.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you can stick with the open. Does the opening and closing feel okay?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, stick with that. And then we're just gonna rest the foot, rest the leg, either on top of that left leg. So my right foot is on top of my left knee, or if that's not feeling great, you can bring it down so that your foot is on the ground on the mat, just next to that left leg. So again, just in that figure four. And the foot can be closer to you or further away from you, whatever feels more comfortable. And then we're going to twist towards that bent knee. So I'm going to twist towards my right. So that will hopefully get some opening a little bit into that outer thigh. If you're not feeling it as much, you might want to try lifting the foot. And if you're still not feeling it, you can cross the foot over if this feels accessible, hugging that knee in and then gently twisting. So depending on how tight this IT band is, this outer thigh and your hamstrings, any one of these options can start to get into that stretch. I'm just going to pop in to see.
When you say raising this foot, I could put a full block underneath my ankle or underneath my knee?
Yep, you can put the block underneath. So you can put it under the knee. So when you put under the knee, that will hopefully allow your foot to rest on top of this extended leg. So this allows me to have a little bit more flexibility in bringing this right foot on top of the left knee. So if this feels comfortable, you can also bring it a little bit more in to give some support to the ankle, to the shin. It just depends. I think if you're feeling it more in the knee, then I would suggest giving that support to the knee. Then we're not overstraining the knee. How does that feel?
It feels better.
Cool.
So I put two. I put one under the ankle and one under the knee.
Yeah, yeah. As long as that feels good. All right. And then As you're ready, we can let that go. Coming back to that neutral, kind of bringing both legs out. And then we'll do the same for the left side. So again, bending that left leg and just having a little bit of lift. So bringing that left foot into the right hand, the left knee into the left hand, lifting it just enough so that you can start to have that open and closed movement. As exaggerated or as small as it feels good. So we don't want to, overdo it. And again, if it feels okay to do that rotation, you can. Did we lose Amy?
Amy, you there?
No, I'm here.
Okay. I didn't see your little box, so I was like, hey. So yeah, so you can stick with the open and close movement. You can do those rotations with the knee. Again, if those rotations are causing pain, especially like nerve feeling pain, don't do that. Stick with that open and close movement. And then the same thing here. We're going to either have that left foot be on top of the right knee. If you want to bring in blocks to support the knee, maybe 2 blocks to support the ankle as well. And then gently twisting. So again, same thing. We're going to gently twist. If you don't feel that kind of stretch in that outer thigh, you can find an option that helps you feel that, right? So maybe that's bringing the foot down, seeing how that feels. Maybe that's crossing the foot over, hugging the knee in, and seeing how that feels. So just noticing which option feels one more accessible, but also where you feel a little bit opening. And again, just making sure you're breathing. So we're not holding that breath as much as possible. And then whenever you're ready, we'll come back to center. Bring the legs out long again. And then we're going to come into that forward fold again. So bending the knees a little bit. And here, if it feels good, you can bring blocks under the knees. Or you can also, if you have like a foam roller, or if you have a blanket or a pillow or something, you can bring something softer. So sometimes the blocks can be a little bit too firm. So like it can, do a little bit more harm than good. But if you have like a foam roller or a blanket or a pillow or something that you can roll up where it's a little bit softer, but still gives a little bit lift, you can bring that under the knees. And now we want to flex the toes back. So now we're going to get that hamstring stretching a little bit. And then inhaling reaching the arms up. And as you exhale, folding forward towards the feet. So again, doesn't have to touch, doesn't have to be close. Just letting the hands reach as far as they feel comfortable. So now you might feel a little bit more in that hamstring. I know with this foam roller, I feel it a little bit more in my hamstrings than in my low back. So you can always bend the knees a little bit more to get into that low back. You can bend them a little bit less if you feel like the hamstring feels good. You can even sway the back a little bit from side to side if that feels good. Starting to open up the sides of the spine a little bit, kind of those the side muscles of the back. And then nice and easy coming back. All right. So we're gonna get into a little bit of like a flow in our seat. So generally we do sun salutations standing, but we're gonna try and flow a little bit sitting with a sun salutation. So we're gonna modify a few of the postures so that we can do all of them sitting. So, and I'm gonna go through the first, like, cycle through them, and you can try to follow, like, try them along with me, or you can observe, and then the next cycle come along with me. But going at your own pace, trying to flow with your breath. So where we're bending, where we're folding, you're exhaling, where we're kind of opening, lifting, you're inhaling. And we'll just go like a couple of rounds. So we're not going to do this for too long or too many times, but just so we get a little bit of flow into the body. So on an exhale, we're going to lift the arms up. As we exhale, we're going to fold forward towards the feet. Again, bending the knees as much as you want to. On the inhale, we're going to bring the hands to the shin if they're not already there, and lift the chest. So that spine is as straight as feels comfortable. Exhaling to fold forward again. And then we're going to inhale, reach the arms up and bring the hands to the heart. So I'm going to turn to the side. So for the next round, so it can be a little bit a different angle. Okay? So again, extending the legs out, bending the knees as much as feels comfortable. Inhaling, reaching the arms up. As we exhale, folding forward, letting the arms, the hands reach as far as they want to. Inhaling, bringing the hands to the shins if they're not already there, reaching the chest forward. Exhaling to fold forward. Inhaling, reaching the arms up. Exhaling, bringing the hands to your heart. So we'll go just one more round. Going at your own pace, so it can be nice and slow. Inhaling to lift. Exhaling, gently folding forward. Inhaling to that modified halfway lift, so hands to the shins. Exhaling to fold forward. Inhaling to reach the arms up. And exhaling, hands to your heart. So that sun salutation, generally the standing and even the sitting version is really good because it starts to move the spine so that, you know, the muscles move, the muscles start to stretch, but it hopefully kind of addresses any like stiffness, any tightness in the spine. It kind of, you can kind of imagine it as a movement, as a flow that kind of oils the joints, right? So thinking of like the Tin Man and oiling his joints, like that's what a sun salutation is doing for your body. It's starting to oil all the different joints, all the bones, and things like that. So it's really good to start to build that kind of fluidity in the spine. And for me, I know like when I'm feeling back pain, going through that gently, so not trying to push myself, but going through those movements gently helps to kind of get a little bit of heat, a little bit of warmth into the spine. So it kind of eases some of that back pain for me.
I agree. I can feel my back getting warmer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, the more you do that, like the more you can add on. So you know, bringing in like seated lunges, like leg stretches, So, yeah, there's tons like we can do with that. But I think starting slowly, starting with minimal movements, but like larger spinal movements will be good. So now we're gonna get a little bit more into the back and into the knees. So I'm gonna have us all lay down, getting a little bit into twisting of the spine. And then we'll end completely laying down. And so if laying down flat doesn't feel comfortable, make sure you have blocks or pillows or something that you can put under the knees or under the legs when we're laying down completely flat. So that way it's hopefully a little bit more comfortable for you. But for now, we will lie down. Sorry, I just found like a whole line of ants in my house. Anyways, okay, so we'll lie down. Still feeling okay? So we'll lie down, and if it feels more comfortable to have a blanket or something under the spine, you can even bring that blanket in here. And we're gonna move the spine again. Create like similar to how we were folding forward, but kind of in the opposite direction. So we're gonna lift the spine now. Instead of folding it forward, we're gonna lift it so that we're having that opposite movement of the spine. So bringing your feet just about in line with your hip bones, bringing your hands down by your sides. And when you inhale, we're gonna lift the hips just as much as feels comfortable and lift the arms up and overhead. So you can imagine you're like painting the ceiling above you. And then as you exhale, releasing the hips to the ground, releasing the hands down by your sides. So we're just gonna do that 3 more times, nice and easy, nice and slow. Inhaling, lifting the hips, painting that ceiling with your fingertips. As you exhale, releasing to the ground. 2 more times. Inhaling, lifting. Exhaling, release. 1 more time. Inhaling, lifting. Exhaling, release. And then if it feels comfortable, you can bring the knees towards the chest, just slightly. They don't have to be hugging in, but just bending them and curving the spine a little bit. Maybe rocking from side to side. If it feels good, you can take the knees in circles too, but just kind of keeping in mind how that feels and if that side to side might feel a little better. All right, and then we're gonna bring the feet flat. So now we're gonna cross the right foot over the left leg. So just about like on the thigh above the knee, making that figure 4. And then we're gonna lift that left leg. So depending on how you're feeling, depending on how you're, especially this outer right thigh is feeling right now, this might be enough. This might feel, you already feel the stretch. You already feel maybe kind of that heat being created from the stretch. And if you want to go further, or you want to feel maybe a little bit more, you can lift that left foot. You can straighten it up towards the ceiling. If you happen to have a strap or like a belt or something, you can wrap it around the foot and hold on to it, or you can hold on to your thigh. but finding that version of this figure 4 that feels okay for you. So it might be here, it might be with that leg lifted. Making sure you're taking breaths. And then we'll nice and easy release, bringing both feet flat. And then we're going to take the knees from side to side like windshield wipers. So again, just as far to each side as feels okay. So it doesn't have to be, you know, the super highest level of windshield wipers. It can be that subtle sprinkle of rain windshield wipers. And then we'll bring the knees back to center and we'll take it to the other side. So now I'm crossing my left foot over my right. And again, this might be enough, right? That you might already feel the stretch, and this is where you need to be. If you want to lift that right leg, maybe this feels where you need to be. Maybe stretching out that foot all the way up. But just finding that point where you feel the stretch. You don't have to push yourself, just that point where you feel it. Deep breaths. And then we'll nice and easy release, bringing the feet flat and taking the legs from side to side again, like windshield wipers. All right. So now we're going to take the right leg out long. And we're going to take the left leg up towards the ceiling, just as much as feels okay. And you can hold on to that left leg. Again, if you have a belt or something where you can hold on to it like a strap without having to kind of super extend your arms, you can do that. So we're creating that L, kind of a loosely L shape with the legs. So you might, you know, it might be like a smaller kind of piece of a pie, might be larger. And then we're going to cross this left leg over to the right, just as much as feels comfortable. And if you want, you can take a block, maybe a couple blocks, and rest the leg on the block. So we're not overexerting those muscles in the leg. Knowing that if you allow this extended leg to hover a little bit, this is where we're engaging the thigh and the calf muscles. So we're strengthening around the knee too, right? So even with this block here, we're still starting to strengthen the thigh and the calf muscle. One more deep breath in. And as you exhale, coming back to center. And then we're going to do it on the other side. So left the leg out long on the ground, right leg up towards the ceiling or maybe just out in front of you. Then again, if you want to bring that block over to the other side, and then you're going to bring that right leg over. Maybe this time getting a little further, maybe this time it's a little tighter, so you have to keep it a little higher up. But again, trying to engage the thigh, the calf muscle, strengthening, protecting that knee. Deep breaths. One more deep breath in. And then exhaling to release. If it feels good, you can take the knees from side to side, or you can hug the knees in towards the chest. Just a slight counter stretch for the spine. And then we're going to come into a spinal twist. So a little bit deeper stretch than or twist than what we just did. So you can hug both knees towards the chest and take them both over to one side. Or you can hug one knee in, take the other leg out, and then cross that one knee to the opposite side. So this is my left knee, and cross it over to the right side. Or you can do that L shape again. Whichever feels best for you. And it might be a smaller twist, depending on how your spine is doing. It might be a slight twist. It doesn't have to be super exaggerated. Just getting a gentle twist, especially in that low back. One more deep breath in. And as you exhale, coming back to center, and then we'll switch. So same options here. You can take both knees over to the opposite side, hug that opposite knee in, take that leg out long. And then, so this is my right knee, crossing it over to the left. Again, it can be super exaggerated if that feels good. It can be smaller if that feels better. Just taking those deep breaths. And then one more deep breath in. And as you exhale, slowly coming back to center. So now we're going to come into Shavasana. So that's going to be our last, hopefully relaxing pose. Excuse me. So you can there are various versions, right? You can lie down totally flat. If you want to bring something under the knees to lift them a little bit, that might feel better in your back. If you want to just simply keep the knees bent, keep the feet flat, that might feel better for your spine. You can even walk the feet out a little bit wider so that your knees kind of fall together. That might be nice for the hips. Whatever restful lying down posture feels okay for you. Taking some deep breaths. Allowing your spine to relax and release. Knowing you can always adjust, right? So if you want to switch to a different version of Shavasana, you can. Releasing as much tension as you can. And again, noticing where you feel your breath. So just like we started, noticing where you're feeling the breath in the body. Maybe in your belly, maybe in the chest. Maybe in the back. Starting to bring yourself back to this space, back to this moment. Maybe starting to wiggle your toes a little bit. Maybe starting to wiggle your fingers a little bit. Maybe stretching your arms up above the head. Maybe taking the knees from side to side. And then nice and easy, nice and gently, taking your time, finding your way back to your comfortable seat. Nice and slowly.